Hello everyone, welcome to our official YouTube channel of Hasmukh Goswami College of Engineering. I am Professor Srinath Karli from Civil Engineering Department. Today we are going to learn the subject Pavement Design and Highway Construction, and in this subject we are going to cover the topic Design of Flexible Pavement. So today's presentation is of contents. First one is factors affecting pavement design, ESWL, and third one is VDF. So first of all we are going to see what are the factors which are affecting the pavement design. So these are some of the factors and main factors which are affecting the pavement design. First one is contact pressure, second wheel load, third is axle configuration, fourth moving loads, fifth repetition of loads, sixth environmental factors, seven temperature, eight precipitation, 9 speed of vehicles, and 10 is load repetition. So first factor is a contact pressure. So contact pressure is you can see in this visuals that the tire is in direct contact with the upper layer of the road surface, which is called as a wearing surface also, and which is above the base surface. So basically we are having a three layers here in this visuals. First one is wearing course, in which tire is having a direct contact, second is a base course, and third is a subgrade. So load distribution from the wheel load, it will be distributed to the base layer and it will go to the subgrade layer, and lastly the subgrade layer will be directly moving the load towards the soil. So the tire pressure is an important factor as it is determine the contact area and the contact pressure between the wheel and a pavement surface. So even though the shape of the contact area is elliptical, for sake of simplicity and analysis, a circular area is often considered, as you can see in this image. So it is just a contact area in which the contact pressure depends upon. So therefore contact pressure and contact area are the most important factors which are affecting the pavement design. Next we will be moving towards the wheel load. So wheel load is that type of factor which determines the depth and of the pavement required to ensure that the subgrade soil is not failed. Wheel configuration affects the stress distribution and deflection within pavement. Here you can see the wheel load is distributed, is having a load distribution pattern. So at the above layer, surface layer, it is having a triangular load distribution. Then base course, it increases the dimensions, width increases of load dimension. Next we are going to sub base, it also increases, and lastly the subgrade layer, the wheel load increases the area of, rather than the surface layer. So now wheel configuration is an affects the stress distribution and deflection within pavement. Many commercial vehicles have dual rear wheel loads which ensure that the contact pressure is within the limits. The normal practice, what we have to do is to convert the dual wheel load into a single wheel load so that the analysis is made very simpler and also in simple form. So now third one is axle configuration. Now here in this visuals you can see that the load carrying capacity of the commercial vehicle is further enhanced by the introduction of multiple axles. So in this image we are seeing that the center, the end to end distance is 330 mm of the axles. It is showing this axle is considered as a one axle, and center to center is having a 1800 mm. So it's having a load of 20 kilonewton and 750 kilopascal. So first of all, at the base course it is having almost 10 centimeter base course, and in that above layer wearing course it is 10 centimeter wearing course, sorry, base layer is 20 centimeter, sub base is 20, and again subgrade it increases to 40, 50 or 60 centimeter. But how much is the vehicle damage factor? So axle configuration, we are seeing that it is having a 0.4 V, 0.35, and last is a 0.45. So vehicle damage factor is a 0.45 of axle configuration. Again, in some countries, in our Indian countries also, India countries, some of the states are having fixed axle loads like this symbol shown in figure, 15 tons. So above that 15 tons axle load, it is not permitted to move on the Indian roads. So next we are having a repetition of loads. So repetition of loads here influences the traffic mainly, and in this not only depend upon the magnitude of the wheel load but also on the frequency of the load applications. Each load causes, in repetition of load, each load causes some deformation and total deformation. Although the pavement deformation due to single axle load is very small, the cumulative effect of number of load repetition significant. Therefore, in this point we can consider as it is a modern design which is based on total number of standard axle load. Usually for single axle load it is considered as 80 kilo Newton. So the most structural models are layered elastic model and viscoelastic models. So now environmental factors. You can see the environmental factors. It is visually we can see that performance of the pavement materials also causes a very serious damage. So we are having two types of pavements, flexible and rigid pavements. In both the cases the environmental changes, when the nature changes, the pavement characteristics also changes. It becomes slippery, it becomes low speed roads, it becomes very dangerous. So environmental factors that affect are of two types, temperature and precipitation. As the precipitation, it is synonymous rain, we can say as a rainfall. So temperature and precipitation both affects the pavement structure. So coming back to the seventh point, temperature. So we have discussed in environmental factors there are two factors which affects the road pavement. First one is temperature and second is precipitation. So how temperature it is affects? First of all, in asphalt pavements, in asphalt pavements the temperature readily affects, which is different from the concrete pavements, right? So temperature affects the resilient modulus, which is in the asphalt layer, present in the asphalt layer, which it includes curling of concrete slabs, etc. So in rigid pavements, due to the difference of temperature, they are having a slab wise distribution. So top and bottom slab, the stresses which is called temperature stresses and frictional stresses are developed, and it actually causes the cracks. So because of temperature stresses and frictional stresses, it causes the cracks. While in flexible pavement, dynamic modulus of asphaltic concrete varies from the temperature. So also in temperature we are considering a frost heave, which causes differential settlements and pavement roughness. Most detrimental effect is of frost penetration when it occurs during the spring period and when ice melts and subgrade is in saturated conditions. Next is precipitation, which is rainfall. So precipitation forms from rain and snow, which affects the quantity of surface water, infiltration into the subgrade, and depth of groundwater table. Poor drainage may bring lack of shear strength, pumping, loss of support, etc., etc. So for going for the conclusion, we have several factors which is very important. Wheel load is also very important, since pavements are designed to take some middle wheel loads or lower high ton edge wheel loads. So slow moving loads and static loads are detrimental to the pavement. And we are moving to the next one is speed of vehicles. So how can the speed of vehicles influences the factors affecting pavement design? When there is a high speed road, when it applies the brake, the application of the brake creates a friction force. So when the friction force is created, it gives a stress to the surface layer. So the surface layer, when the load is repeated, and when the at a same point, when there is a application of brakes or application of force, so the surface layer gets affected due to the speed of vehicles and load repetition. But due to the speed of vehicles, the forces increases and the vehicles becomes very hefty to drive, and also we need a very good roads to drive at a high speed. So at high speed, the pavement design also, the speed of vehicles also affects the pavement design. And load repetition, when there is a much more load repetition than a normal road. See, there are two types of roads we can determine: urban roads and rural roads. And actually there are in urban roads, there's a category arterial road, subarterial road, major arterial road, subarterial collector street, and local street. So what happens in arterial, the speed increases; in subarterial, speed reduces; in collector street, speed reduces comparatively; and local street as well, speed less than the 30 km/h. But the load repetition you can observe in all the areas. So mostly in arterial roads we can observe the load repetition. So therefore it affects actually the pavement design. So when where there is a low repetition of load is very high, we have to design pavement design likewise. So these were the factors which were affecting the pavement design. So we are considering some problems. We are having a standard axle load. I have said that single axle load is 80 kilonewton. So speed of vehicles is least affect the pavement, wheel load, axle configuration, load repetition. Now these are the factors which least affects rather than the other factors like environmental. So now we are going towards the new topic is the ESWL. Full form is equivalent single wheel load. So to carry the maximum load within the specified limits, to carry a greater load, or dual wheel load or dual tandem assembly is often used to carry yes, of course, in on the roads, on the highways, there is a tandem axle load, there is multiple axle load, dual wheel load, so many are there. But how to evaluate the tandem axle load? So to evaluate the tandem, dual axle load, multiple axle load, we are going to use this unit ESWL. So ESWL is a single wheel load having the same contact pressure, which produces the same value of maximum stress, deflection, tensile stress or contact pressure at the desired depth. The procedure of finding the ESWL for equal stress criteria is provided below. This is semi-rational method known as Boyd and Foster method based on the following assumptions. So first one is equivalency concept is based on equal stress. So second is contact area is circular, influence angle is 45 degrees, and soil medium is elastic, homogeneous and isotropic. So ESWL is given by the formula log base to the 10 ESWL equal to log base to 10 P plus 0.301 log Z upon D by 2 upon divided by log 2S upon D by 2, where P consideration stands for the wheel load, S is the center to center distance between the two wheel loads, D is the clear distance. Here you can see P is the wheel load, right? And S is the center to center. D is the clear distance between two wheels, and Z is the desired depth at which the wheel load makes the movement. So whether you are having a tandem axle load or multiple axle load, you can convert the whole wheel load assembly into the single wheel load assembly with the help of this formula. So in heavy vehicle rear axle, in general, having two wheels at one side instead of single wheel here, pressure at certain depth below cannot be obtained by numerically adding the pressure created by each wheel load. So for that thing, single wheel load we are using. It is the single hull having the same contact pressure, again, which produces the same value of maximum stresses, deflection and contact pressure at the desired depth as two individual wheel produces. So it actually converts the tandem or dual wheel load assembly into the equivalent single wheel load. Now we are coming towards our last topic, which is VDF, vehicle damage factor, which is a multiplier again for converting the number of commercial vehicles of different axle loads and axle configuration to the number of standard axle repetitions. So it's a just multiplier to convert the number of commercial vehicles to different axle loads to a standard axle load. It is defined as equivalent number of standard axles per commercial vehicle. The VDF varies with the axle configuration, axle loading, terrain, type of road and from region to region. So in IRC the VDF is specified with the characteristics and some types of wheel loads. So the axle load equivalency factors are used to convert the different axle load repetitions into equivalent standard axle load repetitions. So for this we are having a single lane roads. The traffic trends to be more channelized on single roads rather than two lane roads and allowed for this concentration of wheel load repetition. The design should be based on the total number of commercial vehicles in both the directions. Two lane single carriageway roads. The design should be based on 75% of the commercial vehicles in both directions. Four lane single carriageway roads. The design should be based on 40% of the total number of commercial vehicles in both the directions. So dual carriageway roads, for the design of dual two-lane carriageway roads should be based on 75% of the number of commercial vehicles in each direction. For dual three-lane carriageway and dual four-lane carriageway, the distribution factor will be 60% and 45% respectively. So we are considering VDF formula. N equal to 365 into 1 plus R is to N minus 1 upon R into A into D into F. So where A equal to P 1 plus R is to X. So we are going for one of the examples how to calculate the VDF. So we have to design the pavement for construction of a new bypass with the following data. Two-lane carriageway, we are having a two-lane carriageway. Initial traffic in the year of completion of construction equal to 400 CPVD, which is commercial vehicles per day. Traffic growth rate 7.5%. Design life 15 years. Vehicle damage factor based on axle load service 2.5. Standard axle per commercial vehicle. Design CBR of subgrade is 4%. So distribution factor 0.75. Again, when we input all these numericals in this formula, where N equal to 365 into 1 plus 0.075, which is 7.5% total growth rate, which is R is total growth rate and N is number of years, design life 15 years, right? minus 1 divided by R, which is traffic growth rate, into 400. 400 is CPVD, commercial vehicles per day, into 7.75 traffic growth rate, into 2.5, sorry, 0.75 is the distribution factor, into 2.5, which is standard axles per commercial vehicle. So when you are inputting all these numericals, all these values in the formula, you will get a 7.2 million standard axle, which is MSA. So total pavement thickness of CBR is 4% and traffic is 7.2 MSA. So from IRC 37 chart 1, we can have a conclusion that the total depth of the pavement should be 660 mm. So pavement composition can be obtained by interpolation from pavement design catalog IRC 37 2001. Bituminous surfacing 25 mm plus STBC plus 70 mm DBM. Road base equal to 250 mm WBM, waterbound macadam. Subbase equal to 315 mm granular material of CBR not less than 30%. We can make any blend or composite pavement also with the help of this depth. So from CBR percentage and traffic, we can have a depth of any layer, or with the help of number of vehicles, with the help of this formula, we can have a any layer depth on. It helps in the VDF, actually helps in the design of the pavement. So now these are the references which I have taken all this stuff. So this distribution factor is completed and ESWL is completed, and your factors affecting pavement design is also completed. Thank you for watching this video. If you like it, share and subscribe. Thank you very much.